Welcome back. This is episode 1 of the Inferno podcast. If episode 0 was about why this show exists, this episode is about why I think a lot of people feel off in the hobby right now. Not angry, not done with it, just a little disconnected or like something changed and you can't just quite put your finger on it. When I think about the Pokemon hobby and honestly the entire TCG hobby, the first thing I notice is how many passionate people there are. People care deeply about this stuff, but that passion feels strained lately. It feels tense instead of joyful. I feel like there's always an embracement for the next thing to come. People are frustrated they can't get product, frustrated because cards are more expensive now than ever, frustrated because every conversation turns into a which set should I buy or which card is the next best investment. And what I notice more than anything is the lack of humanity. It feels more transactional. It feels like fewer conversations and more negotiations. It feels like fewer people are trying to build relationships now, and more people are just trying to get something for less than what it's worth so they could flip it and make a profit. Not because they love the artwork, not because they love the Pokemon or the specific character. Just because there's money attached to it, that's all they care about. And that changes how the hobby feels. I'll be honest, I feel FOMO too. Even as someone who's been around this space for a decent amount of time, even knowing better, it still creeps in. I see my buddies posting their booster boxes or the cool cards that they got or big lots that they were able to secure. And I catch myself thinking, man, I need to catch up. I feel behind. Then I look at my collection, my Entei collection, for example, how far it's grown, and my sealed collection and how much it means to me. And I realize this is what I want. This is the lane that I actually chose for myself, and it didn't happen overnight. And that's kind of the point. A wise vendor once told me, you need to zig when others zag to find the next big thing before it becomes the next big thing. And ironically, that mindset is also what creates the feeling of being behind. That tension is real. I think deep down, I just miss when it was simpler. When collecting didn't feel like a chess game or a strategy, and just liking something was enough. What made Pokemon matter to me in the first place wasn't money or investing. It was the video games. Getting lost in the story and watching Pokemon in the morning with my cereal or my breakfast. I remember when I would play my Game Boy Advance SP, the little flip phone that looked like a razor. And for my younger people, razors are flip phones. And yeah, I just remember being under the blanket and you'd flip the Game Boy up and it had a light built in. You didn't have to use one of those attachments. And I would stay up all night just playing that video game, and not looking up how to get from place to place on the computer, not looking or talking to my friends about what Pokemon I should be catching or what I should be doing. I would just play and let my curiosity run. I wanted to be in that world. And honestly, some of the artwork on the cards today still brings me back to that same feeling. I mean, look at Charizard from Brilliant Stars, for example. I know I've spoken about it before, and the scene that it sets is just incredible. Charizard fighting Venusaur using Vine Whip, and Charizard kind of floating or flying, and embers flying around him. It's sick, and it also has a story behind it, not only for the battle, but there's another card that goes with it, the Charizard V Sword and Shield promo. It's, if you didn't know this before, now you do, it's actually the aftermath of that fighting scene from Brilliant Stars. So Charizard is like asleep in very front frame of the picture, and Venusaur is, I think, on a stump or something like that in the very way back. And they're both basically relaxing, but the forest all around them is all burnt up and destroyed because of their battle. I just think it's incredible. And that's what still hooks me on the entire hobby. I think what really causes burnout right now is the FOMO, the fear of missing out. People buy when they probably shouldn't because they feel like they need the card everyone else loves, even if they don't love it themselves, even if it doesn't fit their collection at all. I mean, they might be like, oh my God, I got to have this Gyarados, but they love Charizard. They don't really want the Gyarados. They want the Gyarados because everybody else thinks the Gyarados is cool. I don't know. There's just a constant buying just to keep up. It feels like Pokemon drops a new set every week, and because of short attention spans out there, people don't even notice half the amazing artwork anymore. A set comes out, everyone focuses on one card, not because it means something, but because there's money behind it. And then we move on. That pace just isn't human, and it's okay if you don't want to live at that pace. What I mean is, you need to collect at your own pace. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel like you have to do a certain thing because so-and-so is doing it themselves. Move at your own pace. So how do I stay grounded? I collect privately, and that was a conscious choice. I focus on things that actually mean something to me. For my personal collection, I collect Entei slabs. Shocker, I know. Mostly PSA 10s for modern, lower grades for vintage is okay with me, and that's just my perfectionist talking. Entei is clearly my favorite Pokemon. One day I want to be one of the best Entei collections in existence. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the best for anyone else, but for me. And when I say privately, I mean that intentionally. I share some things publicly on my page, my Instagram, artwork that I might love, sealed product that I believe in. That's just content though. But the things that mean the most to me, most people don't even know I have them because I don't want just anyone to know what I love. I want it to stay personal. I want it to stay mine. And honestly, I love to share that stuff, but I only want to share it with the people that actually care. For sealed product, I love the Sword and Shield era. That's when I got back into the hobby myself. That era means something to me. I remember ripping Silver Tempest, Lost Origin when they were $4 a pack, or Crown Zenith packs every morning with my coffee. If you follow my page, you remember morning rips. That's what I'm referring to. And I would do it just for fun. So my goal is simple. Right now, I want to collect one booster box of every Sword and Shield set. Then a few extra ones that I really believe in. Some for meaning, some for investment. And I gotta say, both can coexist. What I want listeners to take away from this podcast is confidence, relief, permission. Permission to slow down or permission to like what you like. Permission to collect that one card that nobody cares about except for you. As a vendor, I say this a lot, but it comes from a real place. I want to help true collectors get cards into the hands of people who appreciate them beyond the dollar signs. I want to put a smile on a kid's face. I want to help someone understand something better than they did before. That's the part of the hobby that still feels human to me. I mean, there's nothing better than someone walking up to my table when I'm at a show. And I just had this happen recently, actually. They said that their son is super into wheezing. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that his son likes a card or a Pokemon that most people don't really care that much about. And he likes it because he likes it. It's not because he's not paying attention to what everybody else is saying. So if you feel like you're doing the hobby wrong, I want you to hear this. You can't do the hobby wrong as long as you're not hurting anyone. If you buy cards because they mean something to you, open packs because you enjoy it, or buy things on eBay because you think they're cool, screw what anyone else says. Do your thing. Your collection doesn't need approval. It doesn't need approval from me. It doesn't need approval from Joe Schmo, the vendor. It doesn't need approval from the YouTube people. And it doesn't need approval from your parents, unless you're too young to be able to buy things for yourself. If you like drawing, then draw the Pokemon. That's awesome. If you like raw cards and binders, that's sick. You only like slabs? Incredible. Collect them. We need to stop yucking other people's yum. We're all different. We can all enjoy the same hobby in completely different ways. So now, if this episode helped you feel a little less alone, a little more confident, or even just a little more grounded, that's enough for today. I'll see you in the next one.